Chapter 61 Nalan Yanran's Breakthrough. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You can't lie. The immortal doctor took off the ring in his hand and held it out to the middleman, with a simple face. Of course, we brothers always keep our word. The middleman made a promise very readily, and then stepped forward to take the ring from the immortal doctor. Looking at the innocence on the immortal doctor's face, the middleman sighed in his heart, and let this little girl have a good time later. What he didn't notice was the cold light flashing in the depths of the immortal doctor's eyes. When the middleman stretched out his hand, the immortal doctor suddenly attacked. The strong fighting spirit of the Star Master quickly gathered in his palm, the stacked wave palm. Before the middleman could respond, a sharp palm print fell on his chest. Ah! With a scream, the man in the middle flew backwards for more than 10 meters and stopped only after hitting a tree. After falling, the man in the middle uttered with difficulty, "Kill her now," and then fainted. This scene just happened in a flash, and no one present could react to the sudden attack of the medical immortal. It was not until the man in the middle fainted that the masked men responded. "Kill her!" Under the order of another masked fighter, the others rushed towards the medical immortal. After sending the black-clothed man flying with a palm, the medical immortal quickly took out a pill from his arms and stuffed it into Nalan Yanran's mouth. "Sister, be more careful. Once you have dealt with this doshur, I will come to help you." After reminding Nalan Yanran, who had not yet fully responded, the Doctor Immortal went straight to the masked man at the doshur realm. At this time, Nalan Yanran finally responded. She did not care about the shock in her heart. She drew out the long sword in her hand with a cold face and went to meet the masked men with the strength of doja. Soon, several people were caught in a melee. The one who fought with the Doctor Immortal was the doshur realm and 2 doja. The remaining 2 doja faced Nalan Yanran. Although the opponent had more people, the Doctor Immortal relied on the strength of doja, which was considered to be at ease. Although Nalan Yanran only had the strength of a 5-star doja, she did not fall into a disadvantage for a while with her mysterious Xian-level fighting skills, as the fights got too many. Nalan Yanran frequently used Xian-level fighting skills, and her fighting spirit gradually became exhausted, and she gradually fell into a disadvantage. While Nalan Yanran was anxious, the 2 masked men who were fighting with him suddenly changed their expressions, and their moves suddenly became weak and powerless. "No, they are poisoned." At this time, the masked fighting master who was fighting with the medical immortal suddenly exclaimed. Others were also shocked when they heard this, and felt something strange in their bodies. "Senior sister, they were poisoned by my 10 fragrance softening powder, and they are about to collapse." The medical immortal blasted a man in black with a palm, and stood up and came to Nalan Yanran to help. Nalan Yanran was shocked when she heard this, and her swordsmanship became more and more fierce when she attacked. "Damn it, brothers, don't hold back, or we'll all die." A trace of ruthlessness flashed across the face of the doshur masked man. He endured the discomfort in his body and rushed towards the 2 again. Seeing the 5 men in black rushing towards him regardless of everything, the Doctor Immortal's heart moved, and a purple light suddenly bloomed behind him. The next moment, a purple wing suddenly spread out from behind him. Before Nalan Yanran could react, the Doctor Immortal held her and jumped directly, then soared into the air and escaped from the encirclement of the 5 people. Fighting chi wings. Seeing the Doctor Immortal soaring into the air, the 5 masked men were immediately shocked. This little girl turned out to be a Do Wong strongman. The Doctor Immortal held Nalan Yanran, soared for a distance, and then slowly fell down. "Sister, they have been poisoned by your 10 fragrance cartilage powder. They can't hold out for long, we just need to hold them back." After just flying a short distance, the medical immortal was already panting with exhaustion. It had not been long since she learned the purple cloud wings, and now she could only glide for a short distance. Moreover, the doqi consumed by using the purple cloud wings was extremely terrifying. She had only glided for a short distance, and the little doqi left in her body was almost exhausted. "Sister, are you okay?" Nalan Yanran looked at the exhausted medical immortal, and at this moment, she didn't care about being shocked. She quickly took out a chi-restoring pill and put it into the medical immortal's mouth, and then took one for herself. "I'm fine, it's just that the doqi consumption is too great." The medical immortal shook his head, his face a little pale. Not far away, the 5 men in black were shocked. but they saw that the medical immortal and the other person had landed directly, and they immediately responded. They can't hold on, brothers, kill them. With the order from the masked man in the dosha realm, the 5 people chased after the 2 people again. Damn it, Nalan Yanran cursed in her heart, and then she could only support the exhausted dosha immortal, and struggle to distance herself from the 5 people. With dosha immortal in such a state, if she was caught up by these 5 people, she would have no resistance. Now she can only drag it and wait for the 10 fragrance softening powder in these people to fully develop. Fortunately, when the 5 people were about to catch up with Nalan Yanran and the 10 fragrance softening powder in their bodies finally fully developed. Bang bang bang. With a few muffled sounds, the feet of several men in black softened and they fell straight on the ground. Powerless, the masked man in the dosha realm relied on his stronger strength and chased for a few steps, but finally couldn't hold on and fell on the ground. Sister, the poison in their bodies has finally taken effect. Hearing the voice behind, the doctor looked back and said to Nalan Yanran who was supporting her. She felt relieved and finally fainted. Sister, Nalan Yanran's face changed, and she quickly hugged the doctor in her arms. Looking at the pale face of the doctor, Nalan Yanran felt a little guilty. If she hadn't dragged down her sister just now, she wouldn't be so tired. Afterwards, Nalan Yanran looked at the 5 black-clothed men who had fallen on the ground behind her, and a cold light appeared in her beautiful eyes. You all deserve to die. After slowly helping the doctor to a tree, Nalan Yanran raised the long sword in her hand, exuding a fierce killing intent, and walked towards the few people. After a few screams, Nalan Yanran returned to the side of the medical immortal with a blood-stained sword. Junior sister, we are finally safe. Nalan Yanran sat down beside the medical immortal, her expression becoming gentle. If it weren't for the junior sister's desperate rescue, the consequences would be really. Thinking of this, Nalan Yanran looked at the medical immortal with gratitude. Bang! At this time, a muffled sound came from Nalan Yanran's body, and her breath changed slightly. Feeling the breakthrough in her internal realm, Nalan Yanran murmured to herself, sure enough, the teacher is right. After experiencing a life-and-death battle, your strength will be improved. Chapter 62, Refining the Void Jade Talisman. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yunlan Sect, the other courtyard where Furukawa lives. Elder Furukawa, junior sister, is she okay? In the room, Nalan Yanran looked at the little medical fairy who was still sleeping on the bed, with a look of worry on her pretty face. He looked calmly and checked the physical condition of the little medical fairy. He couldn't tell what was in his mind, and said calmly, it's okay, it's just that the fighting energy has been excessively consumed, and he will wake up after taking a while. Hearing this, Nalan Yanran immediately relaxed and said thankfully, it's okay. After checking the body of the little medical fairy, Furukawa gently helped her cover the quilt, turned around, his face had become a little gloomy. He looked at Nalan Yanran and said seriously, tell me, what is going on? Looking at the gloomy Furukawa, Nalan Yanran felt inexplicably panicked. This was the first time she saw Elder Furukawa angry. In the past, Elder Furukawa always presented himself with a refined and easygoing attitude. However, Elder Furukawa's expression now shows that he is really angry. After hesitating for a moment, Nalan Yanran slowly opened her mouth and told everything that happened today. Hearing what happened to the 2 people today, Furukawa's face became even more ugly. This is almost an explanation. Seeing Furukawa's face looking ugly, Nalan Yanran looked a little sad. I'm sorry, Elder Furukawa, it's all my fault for dragging down junior sister Xianer today, otherwise I wouldn't be like this. Furukawa was silent for a moment, his expression returned to calm again, and he said calmly, since everything has passed, don't mention it again. You are lucky to be able to come back safely. Nalan Yanran felt relieved when she saw Guhi's expression softening. Take good care of the little medical fairy. Furukawa said nothing and left the room directly. After Guhi left, Nalan Yanran came to the bed and sat down slowly, her eyes falling on the fairy doctor's face. Junior sister, I count your life this time, senior sister. Thinking of the dangerous scene that happened in the dense forest today, Nalan Yanran still has lingering fears. If it hadn't been for the sudden burst of powerful strength of the little medical fairy, the secret poison, and even the flying fighting skills at the critical moment, I'm afraid the two of them would have been doomed today. However, while feeling a sense of fear in her heart, Nalan Yanran was extremely shocked by the strength and skill shown by the little medical fairy today. Fighting Master Cultivation Level. Flying Fighting Skills. Also the colorless and odorless Shixiang Wanjin powder. Thinking of the little medical fairy's performance today, it was really hard for Nalan Yanran to imagine. Is this really the junior sister Xianer who she fights back and forth with on weekdays? Today's life and death battle completely made Nalan Yanran realize the huge gap between and the little medical fairy. I usually call myself a genius in vain, but I didn't expect that in front of junior sister Xianer, I would be nothing. Nalan Yanran's mouth showed a trace of bitterness. Today's dangerous encounter severely affected her self-confidence. It also made her calmer and no longer as arrogant as before. In the Nalan family and the Yunlan sect, she relied on her status to be arrogant and aloof. Once outside, I am just a little fighter, and no one will by my fault. What happened today can never happen again. Without looking at the little medical fairy on the bed, Nalan Yanran's eyes gradually showed determination. Negligence. Carelessness. After Douqi returned to his room, his face became ugly again. He was not dissatisfied with Nalan Yanran. Just thinking about what happened to the little medical fairy today made him feel a little frightened. If the little medical fairy hadn't handled it properly today, I'm afraid one of their disciples would have died. This will be a heavy blow to Furukawa. The talented disciple who was finally received was almost destroyed by a few miscellaneous fish. This made Furukawa feel angry. Reflecting all the way, Furukawa made up his mind to never let such a situation happen in the future. However, emergencies like today are impossible to prevent. After all, Nalan Yanran secretly took the little medical fairy to Jama Holy City without notifying him in advance. Situations like this may happen again in the future. After all, Furukawa can't restrict the personal freedom of his disciples. This is unrealistic. Besides, flowers in a greenhouse can never grow. Furukawa couldn't let his disciple hide beside him all the time. Moreover, Furukawa has already made a plan in his heart, and will let them go out to practice in the future after they have gained a certain level of strength. During the training process, you will inevitably encounter life and death crises. If his disciple dies, this is what Furukawa doesn't want to see. Therefore, he must come up with a way to eliminate this hidden danger. In the room, Furukawa frowned, and a look of thought flashed between his brows. Suddenly, a flash of inspiration flashed in his mind. Douqi thought of a magical power, and a smile appeared on his face. I almost forgot to return it. What Furukawa thought of was a magical power he drew from the new gift package, Void Projection. This magical power contains the laws of the void, and by activating the magical power, drops a drop of his blood essence into a jade talisman, and condenses it into a void jade talisman. Anyone who holds the void jade talisman, no matter where they are, just needs to crush the jade talisman, and Douqi will project himself there. The strength of the projection is the same as Furukawa's own strength. The only drawback is that this void projection can only last for half an hour. However, this is enough. Half an hour is enough to solve many problems. In fact, when Douqi inherited this magical power, he had thought of this idea. After a long time, Douqi did not think of it for a while. This time, Yixian was in danger, and finally reminded him of this infinite magical power that he had sealed in his mind. If Yixian had the void jade talisman with him today, he would never be so embarrassed, or even in danger of death. Let's just condense the void jade talisman today. After a moment of silence, Douqi took out several rouge jade bottles of equal quality from the ring. Then the purple flame emerged from the palm of his hand, slowly melting these small jade bottles into a ball of light blue liquid. The liquid rolled and then dispersed into 3 parts, and finally solidified into 3 exquisite green jade talismans. Douqi manipulated his own divine fire to remove the impurities in the jade talisman, making it look crystal clear, like emerald green leaves. Then, Douqi forced out 3 drops of scarlet blood from his body and merged them into the 3 jade talismans. Accompanied by the faint power of space, the 3 drops of blood emitted a scarlet light and slowly disappeared into the jade talisman. It's done. But with a move, the 3 green jade talismans slowly fell into the body, and Douqi couldn't help but smile. Chapter 63 Shameful Nalan Yanran. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The next day. Junior sister, you wake up. Nalan Yanran looked at the revived medical immortal with a look of surprise on her pretty face. Senior sister, where am I? The medical fairy opened his eyes, looked at Nalan Yanran in front of him, and said a little confused. Nalan Yanran helped the medical immortal to sit up and explained, this is your own room. I saw you passed out yesterday, so I brought you to Elder Guha. The medical fairy looked at the familiar scenery in the room and gradually came back to his senses, thinking of yesterday's fatal battle. The medical fairy looked at Nalan Yanran with some concern. Senior sister, you are not injured, are you? Seeing the concern in the medical immortal's eyes, Nalan Yanran felt warm in her heart, shook her head and said, I'm fine, I just suffered some skin trauma. I applied some healing medicine given by Elder Guhi and it's already healed. Hearing this, the medical immortal was stunned. Teacher, has he been here before? Nalan Yanran nodded and said, well, Elder Guha left after checking your injuries. He asked me to take good care of you. The medical fairy thought of something, and his face changed slightly. Then the teacher knows what happened yesterday. Hearing this, Nalan Yanran also thought of the near-death scene yesterday, and said with a somewhat sad expression, Elder Guhi is angry, so naturally I dare not hide anything. When the medical fairy heard this, his expression became depressed. Teacher must be very disappointed in me. Of course I'm disappointed. At this moment, Furukawa's voice sounded from the door. Medical immortal and Nalan Yanran were shocked when they heard this, but they saw Guhi's figure entering the room at some point and walking slowly towards them. Nalan Yanran stood up quickly, looking a little nervous and said, Elder Guhi. Furukawa had a straight face and responded calmly, yes. Then, he looked at the medical fairy on the bed, facing Furukawa's gaze. The medical fairy evaded in a rare move and shouted in a low voice, Teacher. Furukawa responded lightly, and then a touch of gentleness appeared on his face. Are you feeling better? Feeling the deep caring from the teacher, the medical fairy's heart was shocked, and her beautiful eyes quickly became mist. Teacher, disciple. Why are you still crying? Seeing the medical fairy burst into tears suddenly, Furukawa showed a trace of helplessness and came to the bedside, rubbed her head and comforted her softly. Okay, come back safely. The medical fairy put his head into Furukawa's arms and cried so hard, Teacher, I know I was wrong. Furukawa smiled and said, you know you made a mistake. Then tell me, what did you do wrong? Hearing this, the medical immortal was stunned for a moment, cried slightly, hesitated for a moment, and then said in a loud voice, disciples should not sneak out of the sect. He also encountered danger and made the teacher worried. Guhi's hand rubbing his head paused slightly and asked, when did my master say that you are not allowed to leave the sect? When you first became a disciple, what did your master say to you? Before the medical immortal could answer, Guhi said directly, as long as you don't betray the master, you are free to do anything, and the master will not interfere. Hearing this, the medical immortal was stunned, and his mind couldn't help but think of the scene when he became a disciple. It seems that the teacher has never asked for anything. All this time, the teacher had silently given her all kinds of treasures, but never mentioned anything in return. Seeing that the medical fairy remained silent, Furukawa's expression gradually became serious. It seems that you still don't know where you went wrong. Seeing that Guhi's tone became stern, the medical immortal suddenly came back to his senses. A trace of panic flashed in his eyes. Teacher, disciple. Furukawa said seriously, tell me, why are you in danger this time? Why did they choose you instead of others? Seeing that Furukawa was really serious, the medical fairy was heartened and did not dare to neglect. After a flash of thought flashed in his beautiful eyes, he slowly said, the reason why we were targeted by them is because we were exposed. The treasures on your body. Teacher, is that right? The medical fairy looked at Furukawa with a solicitous look in his eyes. Hearing this, Guhi smiled happily and said, you've finally come to your senses. The first rule is not to reveal your wealth when you are outside the house. Ko's tone was preaching, and he said with a hint of reproach, what did you do? You exposed your treasure to outsiders without any care. In the face of a heavy treasure, even people who don't intend to do it may have ill intentions towards you. On the side, Nalan Yanran listened to the conversation between the two, and a trace of shame flashed across her pretty face. She remembered that when she was at Mitre auction house, if she hadn't kept asking about this and that, junior sister Sienna would not have revealed her treasure. After all, the crisis we encountered yesterday was all caused by ourselves. At this moment, when she heard Furukawa scolding the medical immortal, Nalan Yanran felt in her heart that Furukawa was scolding her. Thinking of this, Nalan Yanran felt ashamed and almost ashamed to stay here. The medical immortal didn't think too much. After listening to Furukawa's teachings, he nodded seriously and said, "Teacher, disciple, remember, wealth should not be revealed. From now on, I will never reveal my treasures in front of outsiders." Furukawa nodded, with a look of relief in his eyes. "Although you made a mistake this time, looking at the whole thing, there are still many merits. At least, you didn't panic when faced with the sudden appearance of the enemy. You also knew how to poison yourself secretly, and you knew how to use your hidden strength to carry out sneak attacks." As soon as Furukawa's voice changed, he actually started to praise the medical fairy. On the side, when Nalan Yanran heard what Guhi said, she couldn't help but think of how panicked and confused she was when facing the enemy, and a blush appeared on her pretty face. Nalan Yanran thought with shame, "Elder Guhi is clearly praising junior sister. Why does it feel like he is scolding me?" The medical immortal recognized him when he heard Furukawa's words, and a flower-like smile suddenly appeared on his face. "The teacher actually praised me. It seems that I still have some advantages in the teacher's mind." However, before she could be happy for a long time, Furukawa's expression changed and he became serious. "Although you have merits, what you did is not good enough. It's even a bit ridiculous." Hearing this, the smile that appeared on the medical immortal's face suddenly froze. The medical fairy felt a little depressed. "Teacher, can you finish the sentence in one go? P.S. Brothers, we are in the PK, it is very important. If you have a recommendation vote, please vote for it, and also give a good review. It is clear that the dog is about to start to exert its strength, and I am going to update it, I declare. Tomorrow I want the third update." 3 updates. Chapter 64 Nalan Yanran's Envy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the room, Furukawa looked solemn. "Tell me, since you have thought of poison, why do you have to use Shixiang Wanjin powder, a chronic poison? No, it should be a chronic poison. Just think about it, if you had released an acute poison, would anything happen later? You must never be merciful to your enemies. Kindness to the enemy is cruelty to oneself. Silly girl, do you understand?" After Furukawa finished speaking, he stared at the medical fairy on the bed. On the side, Nalan Yanran heard a look of thoughtfulness on her pretty face. "Elder Furukawa, what you said makes sense. However, why do you feel that Elder Furukawa is a bit scary?" In the past, in Nalan Yanran's impression, Furukawa's image had always been upright, elegant, and easygoing, but today, Guhi has another image in Nalan Yanran's heart, and that is, but snap. After hearing what Furukawa said, the medical fairy was stunned for a moment, and then said weakly, "But, teacher, I only have the drug on me." "Furukawa, did you learn how to refine poisonous drugs from the 7-colored poison sutra?" Guhi asked speechlessly. The medical fairy nodded weakly, then he shook his head again. The corner of Guhi's mouth twitched slightly. "What do you mean, girl?" The medical fairy explained in a loud voice, "Teacher, I think the other poisons in the 7-colored poison sutra are too poisonous, so I didn't refine them." Furukawa said helplessly, "Disciple, I know that you have good intentions, but you must be wary of others. With a personality like yours, if you go out, you will definitely suffer." The medical fairy nodded thoughtfully and said obediently, "Teacher, I understand." Furukawa nodded, but sighed in his heart. This girl was still too naive after all. I hope this experience can make her change. Later, Guhi took out a green jade talisman from the ring and handed it to the medical fairy. The medical fairy took the jade talisman and said with some confusion, "Teacher, what is this?" Ko explained with a smile, "This jade talisman is called the Void Jade Talisman. If you encounter a life and death crisis like today, just crush the jade talisman and the crisis will be resolved." Hearing this, the medical fairy's beautiful eyes lit up and she looked at the jade talisman in her hand in surprise. teacher, what kind of treasure is this jade talisman? It's so magical. Furukawa smiled lightly and said, this is the jade talisman that I spent my essence and blood to refine. As long as you crush it, no matter where you are, my master can come to you instantly. What a magical jade charm. The medical fairy touched the green jade talisman in his hand as if it were a treasure, and then looked at Guhi. Thinking that this was the refining of teacher's essence and blood, he was extremely moved. Teacher, thank you, brother, for letting you worry about it. The medical fairy understood that he was in danger yesterday and made the teacher worried, so he immediately refined the void jade talisman to defend himself. Guhi shook his head and reached out to rub her head. There is no other way. As a master, you two precious disciples, and your nature is too kind, so I can only think of this solution. The medical fairy retracted her head into Guhi's arms and said in a charming voice, Teacher, you are the best. On the side, Nalan Yanran looked at the scene of deep master-disciple love in front of her with envy in her eyes. Elder Furukawa is really kind to his brother. She looked at the void jade talisman, which was regarded as a treasure in the medical fairy's hand, with great covetousness. She naturally heard what Furukawa said just now. She also wants a piece of such a magical jade talisman. At this moment, she really wanted to tell Furukawa, Elder Furukawa, could you also give me a jade talisman? But thinking that Elder Furukawa had specially prepared this for his disciple, she felt a little embarrassed to speak. At this time, Guhi noticed the tangled expression on Nalan Yanran's face, smiled slightly, and understood what she was thinking. Girl Yanran, come here. Guhi waved to Nalan Yanran. After hearing this, Nalan Yanran came back to her senses and came to Guhi nervously. Elder Furukawa doesn't want to blame me. Nalan Yanran felt a little uneasy. After all, if she hadn't dragged her junior sister to secretly leave the sect this time, such a thing wouldn't have happened. Moreover, if I hadn't dragged my junior sister down, she wouldn't have been injured. Take it. Nalan Yanran lowered her head, feeling uneasy when a white hand suddenly appeared in her eyes. Nalan Yanran stared blankly at the green jade talisman in Furukawa's palm, not daring to talk to her. Elder Furukawa, is this for me? Furukawa's face showed his usual elegant smile. Yanran, I've worked hard on you during this period. If it weren't for your teaching during this period, and with this girl's practical experience, the situation this time would probably be even worse. Hearing this, Nalan Yanran immediately understood that Furukawa was referring to the actual sparring between the two, and her pretty face turned even redder in an instant. After seeing the true strength of the medical immortal, she still didn't understand why the so-called sparring between the two during this period was always done by the medical immortal. There is such a huge gap between the two of them, so junior sister must have had a hard time with her, right? Are you afraid of hurting yourself by using too much or? Originally, the medical fairy was extremely ashamed. At this moment, she was lifted out by Guhi, which immediately made Nalan Yanran feel ashamed. Nalan Yanran looked unnatural and said, Elder Guha, Guhi thought she was embarrassed, and said gently, accept it. I watched you enter the sect, so I am your elder. This is a gift from an elder to a younger one. Hearing Guhi say this, Nalan Yanran was stunned, then her heart warmed, and her face returned to normal. Then Yanran thanks Elder Guhi. Guhi smiled, thinking that if he accepted this girl as a disciple in the future, this gift would not be given in vain, it should be a gift to her in advance. By the way, girl, your iron-winged giant eagle should not have started to hatch yet. Suddenly, Guhi thought of something, took out a first-level magic core from the system space and handed it to the medical fairy. This first-level gold magic core should allow it to hatch successfully. After so many days, the golden-winged giant eagle egg in Guhi system space has absorbed enough energy, and it stopped absorbing energy yesterday. Guhi guessed that the day when the golden-winged giant eagle would hatch should not be far away. This first-class gold magic core was what the golden-winged giant eagle had not absorbed completely. Guhi thought of the iron-winged giant eagle egg in the hands of the medical immortal, so he simply gave this first-class gold magic core to her. The medical immortal stared blankly at the magic core in Guhi's hand, and a mist quickly floated in her crystal eyes, and she murmured, Teacher, it's great to have you. Chapter 65 Teacher, Waste is Shameful. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Time flies, 3 days have passed since the medical fairy was in danger, Yunlan sect, Guha courtyard. Teacher, I will increase the amount today. Lu Ling soaked her whole body in the large bathtub, looking bitterly at Furukawa who was adding blood to the bathtub. This is already Furukawa's first bottle. The bathtub was already red, and dense bubbles splashed from the water, as if it was about to boil. After soaking for a few minutes, Lu Ling felt a tingling sensation all over her body, as if she was rolling on a mountain. Hearing this, Guhi glanced at Lu Ling, kept moving his hands, and said calmly, "Are you sure you don't want to join me?" The medical immortal already broke through to the 5-star level yesterday. Perhaps it was because of the life and death battle that the medical immortal made another breakthrough after his body recovered without swallowing poison. For example, he is already in the 5-star fighting master realm. When Lu Ling in the bathtub heard this, a trace of shock flashed in her eyes, and then her expression hesitated for a moment, and her eyes gradually became firm. "Teacher, come on. Replenish it hard. After adding this bottle, give me another bottle." Lu Ling had a ruthless look on his face. If this continues, won't he never be able to catch up with his junior sister's strength? Thinking of being suppressed by her junior sister all the time, Lu Ling, who had always wanted to save face, suddenly couldn't accept it. Hearing this, Guhi raised his head and glanced at Lu Ling again. "Are you sure that this bottle is already your limit? Adding another bottle may cause damage to your body. In worse cases, you may become a useless person." "Ah." Lu Ling let out a startled sound, with a look of embarrassment on her face. "Teacher, let's forget it. I think the bottle is good. Haste makes waste. If you want to catch up with your junior sister, just insist on brewing medicine every day." After Ko poured out the first bottle of burning blood, he said lightly, and then slowly walked towards the pavilion. When Lu Ling heard this, she was just about to say something, when her expression changed. As the first bottle of burning blood was poured into the bathtub, the red liquid in the bathtub completely boiled as if it had undergone a qualitative change. A heartbreaking pain that was more terrifying than before quickly swept through Lu Ling's body. "Ah!" The next moment, Lu Ling's painful wailing sounded in the yard. Furukawa has long been accustomed to this scene, sitting in the pavilion with an indifferent expression, leisurely tasting the good tea in the cup. An hour later, Furukawa had finished drinking the tea in the teapot. Lu Ling in the bathtub was silent now, leaving only feeble moans. I saw that no part of his body, including his head, was intact, and there was already a trace of ulcers on the skin on his body. Furukawa put down the teacup in his hand and slowly came to the bathtub to check. Seeing that the water in the bathtub had become clear again and the red color had disappeared, looking at Lu Ling who was unconscious at this moment, a trace of relief appeared in her eyes. Although this kid's qualifications are not as good as those of the medical immortal, fortunately he has good perseverance. In time, he may be able to make up for this gap. As if sensing Furukawa's approach, Lu Ling opened her eyes drowsily, squeezed out a smile and said, "Teacher, my disciple has succeeded in another challenge." He nodded and said with a gentle expression, "Not bad, he is still a man." Then, Guhi stretched out his hand and scratched the ring and took out a jade bottle. When Lu Ling saw the jade bottle in Guhi's hand, he suddenly became excited and said incoherently, "Teacher, come on, I really can't hold it anymore, I will die." Guhi glanced at Lu Ling and cursed with a smile, "Why are you so excited? This is to treat your injuries. Otherwise, how can you carry out special training tomorrow with your current condition? Why, if you don't want it, then I'll take it back." After saying that, Furukawa made a move to take back the jade bottle. Lu Ling's expression changed immediately, and she said with a smile, "No, no, no, no. Teacher, I was wrong." Furukawa slowly opened the jade bottle, and then a stream of green liquid, like emerald, poured into the bathtub. As soon as the green liquid entered the water, it turned into a mist and spread out in the water. Soon, Lu Ling felt a bit of icy coldness sweeping through her body. A feeling of relief surged into her heart, and Lu Ling couldn't help but moan. "Teacher, what kind of liquid is this? It's so comfortable. Give me another bottle." Lu Ling licked her face and said with a smile. Furukawa sneered, "You think so? Just this bottle costs 1,000,000 gold coins. Do you think this is just for your pleasure? What? One bottle costs 1,000,000 gold coins. Lu Ling was shocked when he heard this, and looked at the jade bottle in Gu He's hand with disbelief. Gu He nodded. This is purple jade spiritual liquid, a healing elixir, ranked 5th grade. If it weren't for your persistence, I would not be willing to take it out for you to use. 5th grade spiritual liquid. No wonder it costs millions of gold coins. That when Lu Ling heard this, a flash of enlightenment flashed in his eyes. He thought that he had used a total of 1 bottle of burning blood powder that day. Burning blood powder is a 1st grade spiritual liquid, and the price is about 500,000 gold coins per bottle. 2,000,000 gold coins, plus this bottle of purple jade spiritual liquid worth 1,000,000, Lu Ling couldn't help but feel a little horrified. This special training had cost a total of 3,000,000 gold coins. 3,000,000 gold coins. He thought about his family's total income in a year, which was only a mere 600 to 700 gold coins. In other words, the 2 days of special training have cost the entire Lu family a year of hard work. Thinking of this, Lu Ling felt mixed emotions in her heart. Looking at the teacher who looked indifferent and as if nothing had happened, she couldn't calm down for a long time. Although on the surface he seems to be laughing and joking all day long and seems unreliable, his thoughts are extremely delicate. Thinking that the teacher had to spend such a huge price to give him special training, Lu Ling's heart became a little heavy inexplicably. Looking at Lu Ling who suddenly fell silent, He couldn't help but smile because he was so impressed by the price of the purple jade spiritual liquid. Don't worry, I have a mine at home, and a little spiritual liquid won't be a problem at all. Just try your best. Make it for me. Thinking of the more than 20 billion in the unlimited gold coin card, Furukawa felt confident. Hearing this, Lu Ling was moved and said, Teacher, thank you. Furukawa smiled slightly. I want you to make progress, which is my greatest gratitude to my teacher. After saying that, Ko turned around and headed back to the pavilion. Teacher. At this time, Lu Ling suddenly opened her mouth again, looking a little nervous. Furukawa turned around and saw the look on his face, and felt quite pleased that he wanted to say something grateful. Although this kid looks frizzy, he still has some filial piety. Thinking of this, Furukawa said calmly, What else do you have to say? Hearing this, Lu Ling looked at the jade bottle in Gu He's hand, and slowly opened her mouth and said, Teacher, are you going to give me the jade bottle in your hand? Furukawa looked stunned and said with some doubts, Why do you want this jade bottle? However, he didn't think much and handed the jade bottle directly to Lu Ling. Lu Ling took the jade bottle, stared at it for a moment, and then suddenly brought the jade bottle to her mouth. Then, with Furukawa's stunned expression, she used her tongue to add all the remaining spiritual fluid attached to the bottle into her stomach. Lu Ling quickly filled up the bottle. Now she raised her head and looked at Furukawa's dumbfounded look. Although she felt embarrassed, thinking of the 1,000,000 bottles of spiritual liquid, she suddenly felt confident. Teacher, waste is shameful. Chapter end. Chapter 66 Hatching of the Golden-Feathered Giant Eagle. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The corner of his mouth twitched, and Furukawa was speechless. He looked at Lu Ling and nodded slightly. It's true, waste is shameless. Hey. Seeing that Furukawa was quite impressed with her views, Lu Ling couldn't help but smile, and she no longer felt embarrassed. She handed the jade bottle in her hand to Furukawa again. Teacher, return the jade bottle to you. Seeing the jade bottle covered with Lu Ling's saliva, Furukawa's eyes flashed with disgust. He waved his hand and said, I haven't licked it clean yet, you can keep it and continue licking it. After saying that, Ko turned around and walked towards the pavilion. You haven't licked it clean yet? Lu Ling looked at the mouth of the bottle in confusion and murmured, Have you licked it very clean? Furukawa returned to the pavilion, picked up the teapot and wanted to pour himself a cup of tea, but found that the teapot was already empty, and he was speechless and put down the teapot. That girl hasn't come back yet. After looking at the little doctor's room, Furukawa said helplessly, On weekdays, if the little medical fairy is at home, she will always come to the pavilion to add water to the ancient river. This girl has been running more and more diligently towards the main peak recently. Furukawa muttered, Since the last incident, the little medical fairy and Nalan Yanran have lived and died together, and their relationship has been greatly deepened. On weekdays, the little medical fairy would run towards the main peak almost as soon as he finished practicing. "Oh, it looks like I'm going to do it myself." Shaking his head, Furukawa reluctantly stood up and prepared to pour some boiling water, but at this moment, his expression changed, and he felt something. The next moment, Furukawa seemed to have thought of something and quickly sat down again. With a thought, Furukawa's consciousness directly entered the system space. As soon as his consciousness entered the system space, Furukawa looked at the golden dome suspended in the void. At this moment, the golden dome seemed very calm, and it did not emit bright golden light like before. This situation started a few days ago after the golden egg absorbed enough energy. For the next few days, the golden dome remained in this condition. "Is it finally hatching?" Looking at the golden dome in the void, Douqi murmured to himself, a hint of excitement flashing in his eyes. Although the golden egg was still in a calm state at this moment, Furukawa separated a ray of consciousness and could feel that the strand of consciousness inside the golden egg was in an excited state at this moment. Furukawa can feel the joy contained in his consciousness. Sure enough, after waiting quietly for a moment, golden egg finally made some movement. I saw the golden egg in the void, suddenly shaking without any warning. Click. Along with this vibration, a tiny crack suddenly appeared on the golden egg. The dazzling golden light revealed the crack and burst out, bringing with it a burst of terrifying pressure. So sharp and golden sword energy. Furukawa looked a little surprised when he felt the sharp sword energy in this golden light. This golden light actually made him feel a hint of danger. Furukawa estimated that even the ordinary 8-star Do Huang would not dare to bear this golden sword light. This is in the system space, where the power of the sword is somewhat suppressed. If it comes to it, Furukawa feels that just this sword energy will be enough to set off a storm of fighting spirit. Even before it hatched, it showed such terrifying power. This surprised Furukawa. The golden-feathered giant eagle is worthy of being of the bloodline of the 8th level warcraft. When it is fully hatched, it will definitely be a great help to itself. Afterwards, Douqi waited quietly for the giant golden eagle to break out of its shell. Click. A moment later, another crack appeared on the golden dome, and as the golden light flashed, there was a burst of terrifying pressure. Unknowingly, another 3 hours passed. During this period, Furukawa's consciousness returned to his original body and exchanged a few words with Ling. After he left, Furukawa's consciousness continued to return to the system space. At this moment, after 3 hours of impact, the golden dome was already filled with dense cracks. Furukawa sensed through his soul that the golden-feathered giant eagle would break out of its shell soon. Sure enough, after waiting quietly for a while, the golden dome suddenly burst into brilliant golden light. Click. 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 Following one after another, the sound of densely packed eggshells breaking was heard. Bang. After a few breaths, a loud noise rose into the sky and resounded throughout the system space. Then, Furukawa saw a golden figure. From the completely shattered eggshell fragments, it turned into a golden light and burst out. Phew. Accompanied by a sharp, fierce cry, the golden light came straight towards Douqi, and there was excitement in his voice. Golden light soon fell in front of Furukawa. Through the golden light, Furukawa finally saw clearly the true appearance of the golden-feathered giant eagle that emerged from its shell. I saw a giant golden eagle in front of me, its whole body covered with golden feathers, and the golden feathers faintly exuded a sharp aura, too thick and powerful golden s, as if poured with gold. Faintly terrifying power burst out from their golden s. The golden vertical pupils were full of majesty, with a hint of nobility from the blood. Furukawa looked at the majestic golden-feathered giant eagle in front of him, and was thinking about how to say hello, when suddenly a voice came into his ears. "Master, is that you? I can feel the familiar aura on your body." Douqi was shocked to hear that the golden-winged giant eagle could actually speak human language, but then he suddenly realized that at this level, the monster had already developed intelligence and was no less intelligent than humans. However, the voice of the golden-winged giant eagle in front of him was full of childishness, obviously because it had just been born, and its intelligence was not high, probably like a 5 or 6-year-old human child. "Yes." Douqi smiled and touched the golden head of the golden-winged giant eagle. "Master, I finally see you." Seeing Douqi's recognition, the golden-winged giant eagle's tone was full of joy, just like a lost child who suddenly saw a long-lost relative. Feeling the dependence in the golden-winged giant eagle's tone, He smiled and said, "You can always see the master in the future." "Really?" "Master, I will stay by your side forever." Hearing this, the golden-winged giant eagle nudged He's arm with its head to express its kindness. "Do you have a name?" He suddenly asked. Hearing this, the golden-feathered giant eagle was stunned. "What's the name?" "There is no name." He plucked the soft golden feathers on the golden-feathered giant eagle's head and said softly, "Then the master will give you a name." Although the golden-feathered giant eagle didn't know the meaning of the name, it still responded happily, Okay. He pondered for a moment, looked at the golden-feathered giant eagle with a golden body, and slowly said, "From now on, the master will call you Xiao Jin." P.S. The third chapter of the belated book is finally coded. Window_tabula equals window_tabula .push mode thumbs feed 01 container tabula below article thumbnail 300x250 placement below article thumbnail 300 by 250 target _type mix. Chapter 67 Future Plans. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xiao Jin, the young voice of the golden-winged giant eagle sounded, with doubt in the voice. "Master, do you think it is too small? In fact, it can become bigger." As he spoke, the golden-winged giant eagle radiated golden light, and its body changed rapidly at a speed visible to the naked eye. Before he could react, the body of the golden-winged giant eagle had directly changed 4 times. At this moment, looking down at it was like a small mountain. "Master, do you feel small now?" He looked up at the golden-winged giant eagle with a stiff expression, and said in a somewhat embarrassed tone, You are very small now. What I mean is that Xiao Jin is just your nickname." The golden-winged giant eagle asked in confusion, "Nickname? What's your real name?" He looked at the huge golden-winged giant eagle, tilted his head and said speechlessly, "You should become smaller first." "Okay, master." Hearing this, the golden-winged giant eagle nodded, and as the golden light flashed on its body returned to its previous size. He looked at the golden feathers on the body of the golden-feathered giant eagle, and a trace of thought flashed across his brows. Finally, he said, "Your name is Jinyu, and your nickname is Xiao Jin." "Jinyu, golden feathers." Hearing this, the golden-feathered giant eagle muttered a few words, nodded with some satisfaction and said, "Okay, master, from now on your name will be Jinyu, and your nickname will be Xiao Jin." He smiled and rubbed the golden feathers on Xiao Jin's body, which felt very smooth. Afterwards, he accompanied Xiao Jin to play in the system space for a while, and then said, "Xiao Jin, I'm going out, play by yourself, and the master will come to see you tomorrow." With that, he prepared to leave the system space. Xiao Jin quickly shouted, "Master, I want to go out with you." "You want to go out?" Hearing this, he frowned and said, "No, your body is too big, it's inconvenient to take you out." Xiao Jin heard this and said, "Master, I can get smaller." As Xiao Jin finished speaking, it emitted golden light again, then it also shrank at a speed visible to the naked eye. Finally, a golden bird as small as an ordinary bird appeared in He's vision. The little golden bird flapped its wings and finally landed steadily on He's shoulder. "Master, is it small enough now?" Xiao Jin nudged He's face with his head. Enough. He looked at the little face that fell on his shoulder, and there was a look of surprise in his eyes. Xiao Jin asked, "Then can the master go out with you now?" Furukawa hesitated for a moment and said, "I will take you out, but you must promise that you will not reveal your strength without my permission, and you will not hurt others." Hearing this, Xiao Jin nodded without hesitation, "Okay, master, I promise to listen to you." Furukawa nodded with satisfaction, and then he thought and released Xiao Jin directly out of the system space. The next moment, in front of after He's consciousness returned to his body, Xiao Jin's body appeared out of thin air on his shoulder. "Master, is this the outside world?" Xiao Jin stood on He's shoulder, looking at everything in the room with curiosity in his eyes. He looked sideways at Xiao Jin on his shoulder, pointed at the yard outside, and said in a serious tone, "From now on, you will play in this yard. You must not leave this yard without your permission." Xiao Jin nodded obediently and said, "I know, master." Well, then go and play. Seeing Xiao Jin so obedient, Douqi couldn't help but smile. Xiao Jin flapped his wings and flew out of the room directly as a golden light, flashing and flying in the yard. With Xiao Jin, this trip to the Tagar Desert is safe. Looking at Xiao Jin's golden figure flashing in the yard, Douqi said with a faint smile on his face, originally, he wanted to wait for Yunyun to come back, refine the Huangji pill, and improve his strength again, so that it would be much safer to go to the Tagar Desert again. Now, Yunyun has been out for more than a month, and there is no news from her, which makes Gu Hezhong a little impatient. The sect master has been here for so long. He wants to go out for a walk, if he can meet some wild genius and accept a disciple. Wouldn't it be wonderful? But his manifestation is only a 9-star Dohuang. If he goes to the Tagar Desert and is unlucky enough to meet Queen Medusa, it's hard to say. He has many trump cards, but the other party is an old strong man at the peak of the 9-star Dohuang after all, and his attack is ruthless, which makes Gu Hezhong a little afraid. If he ends up like the old guy Haibuodong, the two men will probably cry with their heads in their hands. Now it's different. Xiao Jin's sudden hatching gave Gu He a surprise, as a blood of a Tier 1 demon beast. Xiao Jin possessed the strength of a 9-star Dohuang peak when he was hatched. Moreover, with his feathers that had unparalleled defense and his golden sword energy that could attack anything, Xiao Jin was absolutely invincible among his peers. With Xiao Jin protecting him, Gu He no longer had to fear Queen Medusa. Therefore, he had the idea of heading to the Tagar Desert in advance. This time, his main purpose of going to the Tagar Desert was for Qinglin, who had the flower pupils of a green snake. If he succeeded in recruiting him as his disciple, he would have one more chance to trigger the system return mechanism every month. Of course, for Gu He, the most important thing is to have another chance to pass on his skills and improve his own cultivation. After returning to the system with the intention of teaching disciples, the fastest way for him to become stronger is to accept more talented disciples. During this period, Gu He has made plans for the future. After he breaks through the Dozong level, he will no longer stay in Yunlan sect, but will travel to the northwest countries to search for talents from all over the place and then accept them one by one. After traveling to various countries, he will go to Canaan College to serve as a mentor, preferably an elder. Gu He believes that this is not difficult with his identity as a 7th-grade alchemist. Canaan College gathers talents from the entire northwest region and even many families in Zhongzhou, and Gu He may be able to accept a few good disciples. Among them, Ziyan of the Taishu ancient dragon clan is Gu He's first target. As for the land of Zhongzhou, Gu He had no intention of going there before he broke through to Dosheng. The water there is too deep. Without Dosheng, he might not be able to control it. Stay for 2 more days. During these 2 days, refine more spiritual liquids for them to temper their bodies, so that their tempering practice will not be delayed after you leave. After a moment of hesitation, Gu He made a plan. Even if he left, Ling and Yixian could not stop tempering their bodies. Gu He even planned to speed up the pace, otherwise they would not be able to keep up with his pace. Chapter 68 Yunyun returns. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yunlan sect, peak, Nalan Yanran lives in another courtyard. Junior sister. Junior sister. Come here quickly. Nalan Yanran's voice sounded in the room, with surprise in her tone. What's the matter, senior sister? The medical fairy heard the sound and walked slowly from outside the house, holding a food box in his hand. Cracked, cracked. Nalan Yanran pointed to a blue beast egg on the table. A touch of excitement appeared on her pretty face. What, it's cracked? Hearing Nalan Yanran's words, the medical immortal was stunned for a moment, then reacted and looked forward to the blue eggs on the table. Looking carefully, I saw a faint crack on the blue egg. There are real cracks. With this tiny crack, the medical fairy's face also showed excitement. Now that the cracks have appeared, it means that the iron-winged giant eagle is about to hatch, which makes the medical fairy how happy. Junior sister, it looks like the iron-winged giant eagle is about to hatch. Nalan Yanran approached the blue egg with excitement on her face. Junior sister has said that after the iron-winged giant eagle hatches, she will take her to experience the feeling of flying. Thinking of this, Nalan Yanran's face showed a look of expectation. Growing up, I have never experienced the feeling of flying in the sky. Hearing this, the medical fairy nodded in agreement and said softly, Teacher said that as long as there are cracks on the eggs, it means they are about to hatch. As he spoke, the medical fairy's pretty face also showed a look of expectation. Do you know what it will look like when the iron-winged giant eagle hatches? Is it very cute? Suddenly, the medical fairy thought, since he was a kid, he should give the iron-winged giant eagle a name that was about to hatch. Thinking of this, the medical immortal looked at Nalan Yanran, who was observing the egg, and asked, "Senior sister, what do you think we should give it?" Hearing this, Nalan Yanran was slightly startled. Choose a name. Immediately, a look of thought flashed in her beautiful eyes. Junior sister, what do you think about calling it Iron? The iron-winged giant eagle happens to have the word iron in its name. Hearing this, the medical immortal shook his head and said, "Senior sister, the name Tai is too unpleasant." Nalan Yanran thought for a while and said, "Either, call it eagle or wings." Medical immortal. The medical fairy looked at Nalan Yanran speechlessly and said, "Senior sister, why do you say it's Joe?" Shaking his head helplessly, the medical fairy sighed, "Senior sister, I'd better get it myself." When Nalan Yanran heard this, a trace of embarrassment flashed across her pretty face. She also understood that the names she had chosen were really of a different level. The medical fairy looked at the beast egg in front of him and thought for a moment, then looked at Nalan Yanran with a smile on his face. "Senior sister, just call it what you think, Zioner." Nalan Yanran. "Hey, what is this?" "That's it. And you said I know how to choose a name. In my opinion, is it better to call it Lan, Yan, or Ran?" Hearing the words of medical immortal, Nalan Yanran couldn't help complaining. Looking at the look of expectation on medical immortal's face, she hesitated, and said in a somewhat euphemistic tone, "Junior sister, the name of immortal is it sounds very good, but the iron-winged giant eagle sounds majestic. Is the name a bit appropriate?" Hearing this, the medical immortal thought for a while and said in agreement, "Yes, the name Zion is suitable for a girl. Do we still know whether it is a male or a female?" Shaking his head, the medical fairy suddenly thought of a better name, and simply said, "When it hatches, I will ask the teacher for advice. The teacher will definitely give it a suitable name." In the eyes of the medical fairy, teachers are powerless. Hearing this, Nalan Yanran nodded and agreed, "Then let's wait until it hatches." The medical fairy placed the food box in his hand on the table and slowly opened it. "Senior sister, the chicken soup is ready. Let's drink it together." As the medical fairy opened the food box, a rich fragrance suddenly spread out. Nalan Yanran's upturned nose twitched slightly, and she sniffed the strong fragrance in the room. With a greedy look on her face, she said expectantly, "Well, let's drink chicken soup first." "Junior sister, the chicken soup you made is so delicious." The medical fairy heard this and smiled slightly. "If it tastes good, just drink more." After saying that, he immediately served Nalan Yanran a bowl. Nalan Yanran picked up the bowl and took a sip, her pretty face suddenly showing a look of intoxication. Drinking chicken soup is really a good thing. Just when Nalan Yanran was immersed in the delicious taste of chicken soup, a figure in green clothes slowly fell in the yard. The figure in Xingyi wears a plain skirt that wraps up her curvy and exquisite body. Her black hair is pulled into a noble phoenix hair ornament, and her beautiful and moving face is calm and serene. This beautiful woman who suddenly appeared was Yun, who had returned from a month's absence. "This girl Yanran, how come you haven't practiced in Japan?" Her beautiful eyes scanned the yard, but she didn't find Nalan Yanran's figure, and a trace of doubt flashed across Yun's pretty face. "Could it be that this girl got lazy while I was away?" Thinking of this, Yun felt a little full. Could it be that this girl forgot her appointment with the Xiao family's daughter? What does it taste like? It smells so good. At this time, a strong fragrance penetrated her nose. Yun looked at the direction of the fragrance and walked towards the room with some doubts. Chapter 69. Teacher, could you please stop praising me? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 69. Teacher, please stop praising me. Junior sister, give me another bowl. In the room, Nalan Yanran happily drank a bowl of chicken soup and handed the bowl to the little medical fairy. "Okay, are there more?" "Senior sister likes it, I will often cook it for you in the future." The little medical fairy filled another bowl of chicken soup for Nalan Yanran. Squeak. When Nalan Yanran picked up the bowl and was about to drink, the door was suddenly pushed open and a figure in green walked in slowly. Teacher, not seeing the person coming in, Nalan Yanran was stunned for a moment, then a flash of surprise flashed across her beautiful eyes, and then she ignored the chicken soup in her hand and immediately rushed towards Yunyun's arms. Teacher, I miss you so much. Nalan Yanran threw herself into Yunyun's arms and said coquettishly. Yixian also had a smile on her face, rubbed Nalan Yanran's head, and said with a doting look on her face, "You are so grown up and you still act like a spoiled brat, you are shameless." At this time, the little medical fairy also stepped forward and said respectfully, "I have met Zong." Looking at the light-hearted, dignified and polite little medical fairy, Yixian unconsciously showed a smile on her face and said, "You are here too. You are here to practice sparring with your senior sister." Yixian has not forgotten what Guhi told Nalan Yanran that day. Thinking of this, Yixian said to Nalan Yanran, "Yanran, you promised Elder Furukawa back then. Remember, you must teach your junior sister carefully." Hearing this, Nalan Yanran's pretty face turned red. I thought to myself, why does my junior sister need her to teach me now? If she tried her best, she wouldn't be able to withstand a move. Facing Yixian at this moment, she didn't know how to reply. At that moment, Nalan Yanran changed the subject, took Yunyun's hand, and walked towards the table. "Teacher, you haven't eaten yet. Junior sister made chicken soup, which is delicious." Chicken soup. Hearing this, Yunyun's beautiful eyes lit up. She smelled the fragrance outside just now, and she thought it was the smell of chicken soup. It smells so good, it must taste good. In the past month, she had been running around in order to collect the herbs for refining Huangji pill, and she basically took care of the food. Now that I smell the aroma of chicken soup, I feel really greedy. Hearing Nalan Yanran's high praise, Yixian smiled and said, "In that case, I will try the skills of the little medical fairy." "Teacher, don't worry, keep it safe and drink it." Hearing this, Nalan Yanran patted her chest confidently, and then happily served Yixian a bowl of chicken soup. Yixian smelled the fragrance and couldn't wait to taste it. Her eyes suddenly lit up. She looked at the little medical fairy with some surprise and praised, "I didn't expect you to have such skills. This bowl of chicken soup is the most delicious chicken soup I have ever tasted." Hearing Yunyun's praise, the little medical fairy suddenly felt a little embarrassed and said, "If Zong likes it, I can make it for you to drink from now on." When Yixian heard this, she smiled happily and said, "Okay." Yixian also liked the lovely and gentle Ni in front of her from the bottom of her heart. She walked over and took the little medical fairy's hand, and the three of them sat down together to chat. The three of them sat together and slowly chatted about home affairs, but while they were chatting, to Nalan Yanran's surprise, Yixian talked about her cultivation level again. Hearing Yixian ask, "Yanran, during the time when I was away as a teacher, have you made any breakthroughs in your cultivation?" Nalan Yanran was stunned for a moment, with a hint of bitterness in her heart, and answered honestly, "Teacher, I have broken through to the 5-star fighter." Nalan Yanran's tone was a bit submissive and lacked confidence. In the past, Nalan Yanran would be very happy if she broke through a realm in a month. She thought extremely narcissistically that she was worthy of being the #1 talent in the Yunlan sect. Who else could break through a realm in a month? But now, after seeing the speed of the little medical fairy's cultivation, her heart was calm and unruffled. Even, I feel a little want to laugh. Laughing at my previous ignorance and my confused self-confidence. But when Yixian heard this, a happy smile appeared on her face, and she praised, "I actually made a breakthrough. Yes, I am very happy as a teacher. It seems that you have not been slacking off after I left." When Nalan Yanran heard this, her pretty face immediately turned red with embarrassment. "Teacher, you can't hold back your words." Thinking of junior sister Xianer beside her, who had broken through several realms in a month, Elder Furukawa had never praised her. Today, he has just broken through a new realm, and the teacher looks pleased. Nalan Yanran suddenly felt that the teacher and Elder Guha were not on the same level at all. At this moment, Yixian was indeed very pleased. Breaking through a realm in a month was already very fast in her eyes. It seems that after breaking off her engagement with the young man of the Xiao family, Yanran is more motivated than before. Thinking of this, Yixian felt more and more how wise she had been in agreeing to Yanran's decision to break off the engagement. although she was very happy in her heart. Yun knew that Yanran had to praise her too much, otherwise her arrogant nature might cause her tail to rise. Thinking of this, Yun said again, Yanran, although your talents are good, you must remember not to be complacent. You must work harder in the future, and don't forget the 3-year appointment with the young master of the Xiao family. Nalan Yanran felt bad after hearing Yun's words. Teacher, I beg you, really praise me. Is my gift good? Are you sure? If my talent is considered good, then what does junior sister Xian mean? Am I complacent? Am I worthy? Do you know? I'm almost inferior. Seeing that Yun was about to continue talking, Nalan Yanran quickly served her another bowl of chicken soup and changed the subject. Teacher, let's drink the chicken soup quickly. It's not good to drink when it's cold. Come on, drink it while it's hot. Yun was interrupted after she finished speaking, and she was still reluctant to speak. Nalan Yanran quickly handed the bowl and said with a smile, Teacher, this chicken soup is delicious. Please drink it while it's hot. Yun. This girl was not happy to say a few words to her. Yun thought that Nalan Yanran didn't like her preaching all the time. That's it. This girl was so self-conscious when she left, which was already precious. Thinking of this, Yun stopped talking and picked up the chicken soup and drank it. Seeing Yun finally stopped, Nalan Yanran felt relieved and exhaled lightly. If the teacher said it again, and in front of junior sister Xian, Nalan Yanran didn't know how to deal with it. Fortunately, she was smart and used chicken soup to fool it. However, what Nalan Yanran didn't expect was, after Yun finished drinking the chicken soup, she started again. Yanran, there is still a month before the inner disciples competition. Are you ready? You must win the first place in this competition. Hearing Yun's words, Nalan Yanran was completely dumbfounded. Teacher, you are still here. Window_tabula equals window_tabula .push, mode, thumbs, feed, 01, container, tabula, below, article, thumbnail, 300x250, placement, below article thumbnail, 300 by 250, target _type, mix. Chapter 70 Yun's shock. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Nalan Yanran looked at Yun who was chattering away speechlessly. If it was before, I heard Yun say this, she must be very confident. She patted her chest and said, Teacher, just let it go. The first place in the inner sect competition must be mine. What about the 3-year appointment? What about Xiao Yan? I didn't even mention that he took it seriously. Isn't she just a waste? How can she compare with me? But that was before. In the past month, after witnessing the evil talent of the little medical fairy, coupled with the last attack in the dense forest, Nalan Yanran's attitude has completely changed. Although it did not fall into the self-prepared step, it made Nalan Yanran no longer as proud as before. At this moment, listening to Yun mentioning the inner sect competition, Nalan Yanran glanced at the little medical fairy beside her consciously. With junior sister Xian here, what can I do to win first place? Teacher, this time, Yanran is destined to disappoint you. Nalan Yanran felt a little sad and did not answer Yun's words. Yun talked for a long time, and when she saw Nalan Yanran lowered her head and said nothing, she suddenly became confused. What happened to this girl? Why does it look weird? Could it be that you feel unwell? Thinking about this, Yun asked with some worry, Yanran, what's wrong with you? Are you feeling unwell? Nalan Yanran shook her head and reluctantly responded, Teacher, I'm fine. On the side, the little medical fairy saw Nalan Yanran's expression suddenly depressed. She, who was thinking delicately, immediately understood what Nalan Yanran was thinking. It seems that senior sister Yanran was beaten by me. This made the little medical fairy couldn't help but think that when he broke through to the realm of fighting master, his senior brother looked like this. Thinking about this, the little medical fairy couldn't help but sigh. In the end, you should try your best to conceal your cultivation level, otherwise, I won't be able to play happily with senior sister Yanran in the future. In order not to embarrass Nalan Yanran further, the little medical fairy hesitated for a moment, then stood up and said goodbye to the two of them. Sect Master, senior sister Yanran, it's getting late, and I should leave. Hearing this, Yun was stunned for a moment, focusing on the little medical fairy, and said in a pleading voice, won't you wait any longer? It's still early. That the little medical fairy shook her head and said, teacher likes to drink afternoon tea. Do I have to go back to make tea for the teacher? Come back another day. Nalan Yanran glanced at the little medical fairy, and somewhat understood her thoughts, and suddenly hesitated to speak, junior sister. The little medical fairy looked at Nalan Yanran, smiled sweetly and said, senior sister, I will come see you again tomorrow. When Yixian heard this, she fell in love with the little medical fairy even more. This girl never forgets her teacher, what a filial and good boy. Taking a step forward, Yixian took the little medical fairy's hand and said gently, since your teacher has said that you should come to Yanran to study, don't be restrained, come whenever you want, and treat this place as your home. Yixian said enthusiastically, if there is anything you don't understand, just ask your senior sister. If she dares to bully you, just tell me and I will teach her a lesson for you. Hearing this, the little medical fairy glanced at Nalan Yanran who was looking embarrassed. A smile flashed in her beautiful eyes and said, well, sect master, I understand, my senior sister has been very kind to me during this period. Behind him, Nalan Yanran listened to the conversation between the two, and was immediately ashamed and couldn't help shouting, teacher. Can you hold back your words? How can I bully my junior sister? You'd better pray to God and pray that she won't make a mistake and cripple your precious apprentice with one palm. Yixian took the little medical fairy and gave her a few instructions before letting go of her hand and letting her leave. What a good boy. Not seeing the little medical fairy leaving, Yixian couldn't help but praise her again. Then, Yixian turned to look at Nalan Yanran and said, Yanran, you have to get along well with your junior sister. The more I look at this girl, the more I like her as a teacher. Nalan Yanran was stunned when she heard the words, and she was relieved when she saw that the little fairy doctor was gone. If the junior sister doesn't leave, the teacher is telling her to go and he will be too embarrassed to see her in the future. Seeing that Nalan Yanran didn't reply, Yixian frowned and said, Yanran, what's wrong with you? Are you behaving strangely? When you come back as a teacher, why don't you open it? No. Nalan Yanran shook her head, hesitated for a moment, and slowly said, teacher, can you please stop praising me in front of others, especially, in front of junior sister Sienna? Hearing this, Yixian was slightly startled, then thought about something, and said with a smile on her face, I didn't expect that, after not seeing each other for a month, you would actually know how to be shy, Yanran. She only thought that Nalan Yanran was embarrassed. Listening to this, Nalan Yanran couldn't help but put her hand on her forehead and looked at Yixian speechlessly. Teacher, it seems that I need to let you have a long experience tomorrow and know what a real genius is. In order to broaden Yixian's horizons, Nalan Yanran decided to tell the story of the little medical fairy sister. It would also help her understand that she considers the disciple with outstanding talent. In fact, it is nothing. After pondering for a while, Nalan Yanran slowly started talking about what she had seen during this period, about the situation of the little medical fairy. A moment later, after Nalan Yanran finished speaking, she said with a low expression, teacher, compared with junior sister Sienna, this disciple is really not a genius. But at this moment, after listening to what Nalan Yanran said, Yixian was completely stunned. 5-star fighting master. That Nizi has actually broken through to the 5-star fighting master. This is a little too outrageous. Yixian really couldn't believe what Nalan Yanran just said. Is there really such a genius in this world? Yixian was silent for a moment, and wanted to ask something, but when she saw the sad look on Nalan Yanran's face, she was suddenly stunned. It seems that Yanran has been hit hard during this period. However, if the little medical fairy is really as perverted as she said, if it had been anyone else, I'm afraid they would have suffered the same blow. Yixian suddenly understood how Nalan Yanran was feeling at this moment. Looking at the disciple who always looked confident in the past, Ru felt sad, and Yixian couldn't help but feel a little pain. Thinking about this, Yixian also felt a little guilty. During this period of time, I devoted myself to finding herbs for refining Huangji, but I really neglected Yanran. Yixian stepped forward and held Nalan Yanran in her arms, and comforted her softly. Yanran, don't worry, after I serve as the teacher, Emperor Huangji breaks through. I will help you find all kinds of heavenly materials and treasures, and I will definitely be able to. Your cultivation has improved. Yun Yunzhong has already made up his mind to train his precious apprentice after finishing his busy work for a while. After listening to Yun Yun's comfort, Nalan Yanran suddenly felt much better. Teacher, you have gathered all Huangji's herbs. Nalan Yanran raised her head and asked. Yun Yun nodded and said, we have gathered it together. We can go to Elder He to refine it tomorrow. P.S. Please vote. During the PK period, everyone who has a vote may wish to vote.